What's up YouTube, Capital G here. Got an interesting replay to show you guys. I don't know how to classify this duel because on one side you got ABC, which obviously is like one of the best decks of the format, probably the best deck in the entire game right now. On the other hand, we've got like Gravekeepers here at the top. So, I mean, it's somewhat competitive. I guess I'll just say non-competitive duel, non-meta duel, because, you know, we got a non-meta deck and then we have like the defining meta deck here. So, I don't know if those two combine to make a meta duel. But anyways, this is going to be a duel that shows kind of just an interesting way to completely lock ABCs out of the duel. Now, I will say inherently, this is a really bad matchup for ABCs. Although ABC is definitely the better deck compared to like Gravekeepers. And Gravekeepers, in my opinion, are like a tier 3 deck. I wouldn't put them even as tier 2 because tier 2 is kind of reserved, in my opinion, for decks that are not like tier 1, but you see it doing really well at regionals. Decks like Dark Magician and Barrier Statues would be kind of examples. But with that said, they do have an excellent ABC matchup. The obvious is that Necro Valley can just completely shut down ABC because they really just won't be able to banish from the graveyard to summon the Buster Dragon in general, which means they got to have like 3 monsters on board, or they have to have like all 3 pieces on the board, which is just, it's kind of difficult for them to do that. Or they have to make like a really risky play like Diamond Direwolf or Casto or something like that. But there's a card that's going to be prominent in this duel that I think like no one even really knows exists, and it completely just blows this game out of the woodwork, man. And it's a card that honestly, I was like, what? Gravekeepers have that? Like, I must have just forgot about that card or just forgot that it exists or something. So anyways, ABCs go first, and while he doesn't have the ABC Buster Dragon play, and he doesn't have like Tsukiyama or anything like that, he does start pretty good in my opinion. For one, obviously he has Union Hanger. He has a 1900 beat stick, which is kind of protected protected by the B Buster Drake. And even if the B Buster Drake falls off, which ideally you'd want to get this, like you'd want to get rid of these both at the same time somehow. I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that would do that other than like something like Trishula, like spinning this and then, or like banishing this and then attacking this. But even outside of the B Buster, which if it goes to the grave will search, he has a Solemn Strike and he has a Vanity's Emptiness. So outside of Twin Twister, like I would feel super comfortable against any deck opening like this, like if it was the mirror match or metaphors, because you know decks like if they want to pendulum summon, you just strike them. If they try to exceed summon, you can vanities before. So outside of Twin Twister, I feel like this is a really strong opening. But Necro Valley is that card, man, and he does have the Commandants, and he does get to the Necro Valley, and this is the card I was talking about, guys. Hidden Temples of Necro Valley. This card is incredibly strong. Let me pause right quick because I think a lot of people probably don't even know that this card even exists. And essentially, it is a Vanity's Emptiness specifically made for Gravekeepers. Like, this is a floodgate, but in my opinion, this would be considered like a fair floodgate because you can only activate it while you have either Necro Valley, or excuse me, you have to have Necro Valley and a Gravekeeper face up on the field. And as long as you have those 2 cards, neither player can special summon except Gravekeeper monsters, which is cool because you can still use Spy, you can still special summon, you just can't go into like Exceeds, which honestly you don't really care because all your dudes get 500 attack and defense gain anyway, and against this matchup this is pretty much like a fucking auto win card. Now if you lose either the Gravekeeper, like if you don't have a Gravekeeper on the board, or you lose your Necro Valley, this card basically just blows itself up. But in general, like this is just a super strong play, and I think it's kind of a shame that Konami did build both of these. Like they built this restriction that you have to have both of them in, because I just wonder, I look at, well, he's obviously just gonna blow this guy the fuck out of the woodwork now, because I mean he can't, like he's using strike on like guards, which means he's obviously desperate. And Necro Valley, by the way, is like shutting down his effects, you know, the ABC that when it goes to the graveyard you get to add one from your graveyard to your hand, but that's obviously not gonna happen. Like he's already getting beat down by the Necro Valley, and this just pretty much is like the icing on the cake. But I wonder if this card would have only said you can activate when you have like either Necro Valley or either a Gravekeeper, and that's all you had to control. I wonder if if Gravekeepers would have been like a much better deck, because this card, obviously you can just see how much potential it has, especially considering you can play 3 copies of it. You know what I mean? Like it could have been one of those cards that could have legitimately buffed like Gravekeepers to like a higher tier, but it's just, you know, Twin Twister in the game and whatnot. It's just so risky. But if your opponent doesn't have Twin Twister, like this is basically what happens. Like you just kind of get the game into I guess a simplified game state where all you do is just constantly attack. Now I know, let me pause for a second. A lot of people are going to be seeing that he runs Brilliant Fusion and Jumbo Drill and be like, oh come on Cap, this isn't real ABC. But let's be real, other than Twin Twister, like what else does ABC have to this combo? There's basically no outs that you play in your entire deck to this. Like most ABC players don't play Regeki or Darude Mirror Force. So like there you have no outs anyway to this. Like it doesn't matter what version of ABC you're running. Like look at all these fucking cards in his hand and he just can't do anything. Like he has like double Union Hanger, he has Terraforming, Desires, like Brilliant Fusion. You can't even use Desires, but he just can't do anything or play Yu-Gi-Oh! And it actually, this combo is made, like it's made even more impressive if you have Imperial Tombs, which is an Infernity barrier for Gravekeepers, but it has pretty much the same kind of activation conditions, is that you kind of have to have a monster and Necro Valley. So I feel like Konami, what they should have done with these cards is they should have just made it require like one of the two. Like I think if you controlled a Gravekeeper monster on the field, that should have been enough, because like I don't think it would have been so broken that you like splash in Gravekeepers just to play these cards. Like the only deck that kind of splashes in Gravekeepers historically has been like Cleefort. Cleefort will play Necro Valley and they'll splash in like one Commandant. So yeah, I guess in Cleefort that would have worked, but then you wouldn't be able to Pendulum Summon, so it wouldn't have been that broken anyway. So let me know what you guys think. I think it would be kind of fun if Konami did print more Gravekeeper support, because they do have a lot of fans out there, and this card is just never ever in my opinion gonna be bad. So just a nice little fun replay I wanted to show you guys. I would just be doing more replays in general. So anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not already.